Hi, my name is Sam Bruton. I'm a senior mass communication student at Georgia College and State University, and today I have a tutorial on how to create a simple EDM song. EDM songs have several different elements to them that are all quite complex, so I'm just going to go through one of the songs that I've made recently and show you how it's all done and how they all interact with each other and how each element changes the sound.
Alright, what's going on? I'm gonna show y'all how to make an intermediate EDM drop in FL Studio. So essentially, there are a few different parts of an EDM song that you need to pay attention to. There's always an intro, a break, a build, and then a drop. And that's the basic structure. So what we have going on right now is this little ARP that I put in here. And this is what's called MIDI, so it's placed on a piano roll like this, and it just tells a certain program what note to play at what specific time for how long at what volume. Alright, but what I did was I also layered it with this little ambience thing. So when you add this, it fills up the frequencies a little more, and it allows that sound to just be a little bit thicker. Alright, and then since that didn't really sound too interesting enough, what I did was I added this little EQ thing on here. Okay, so what this is doing right now is it's telling this little equalizer knob to cut the frequencies up to a certain point. So as this opens up, you'll be able to hear more and more of the high frequencies. Alright, and along with that, I also have this bass sound. Okay, so this is the next part of the song. It's going to be this. Doesn't sound too good, right? But when I add this little frequency modulation to it, it opens up a little bit. As you see, it opens up a lot more as it goes on in the song. But one thing that EDM also has to have is transitional elements. And this isn't just specific to EDM, it's also specific to several other genres. So what we use is white noise. It's just a little thing that says, hey, we're moving on to the next section. So then after this whole section right here with the bass and the arpeggio, I put this little break beat. But what this has on it is another frequency modulation. So as the song goes on, it's going to open up a little bit more and let some of those low frequencies in. So the kick should be a little bit more prominent at the end here. Now, going into the break, we also have this white noise here again. And that just transitions us into our next section, which is this little break right here. Alright, so there's a lot more going on here. I still have this arpeggio, but what I did is I have these chords. Alright, and then along with this ambiance here again, but what I did with these chords is by themselves they sound kind of plain. So what I did was I added some pitch bends. And then we also have this EQ to modulate the frequencies a little bit. So as it goes on, it progressively lets more and more frequencies through. along with this hi-hat loop that we have going here. So as you can hear, it gets louder and more frequencies come through, all that different stuff. I also have this impact here to let you know that stuff is really, really popping up. Another thing I added to these hi-hats was a panning automation. So without this automation, but with the automation, you should hear it going left and right in either ear. So that adds a little bit of room to the sound, makes it a little bit more interesting. But when you add everything together, alright, and the next section is a build-up. So every EDM song has a build-up, and what I've done is I have these build-up drums. It's just a sample that you can download from a sample pack. Some are purchased, some are free. If you go to somatics.com, they have a bunch of free ones. But what I have is this little build-up with a riser under it. And then optionally, I included this vocal, but I ended up getting rid of it at the end just because I didn't really like the sound of it. But once you get through this build up, so you get to that drop, and there's a great bit of tension before you get up to this drop, and that's what the build is for. It's to create that tension so it can be resolved in the drop. So when we get to this drop, we have these chords playing again. But what I did is I put an LFO on them, which an LFO is basically a volume automation, and it'll make the chords wobble. So that, along with this pitch bend, like before, the pitch bend just makes it a lot more interesting. And then I have this drum sample right here. Alright, so you play everything together, and then, never mind, we have this, this lead up here, which is called pattern 4, but it's just a high-pitched kind of flute-sounding synthesizer. It sounded cool, so I figured I'd layer that on top of everything. And then what you have when you put everything together is this drop that sounds really interesting. And there you have it. That's a basic to intermediate EDM drop from start to finish. You can continue this song into another little section over here that goes into another build-up, goes into another drop, and then you have a finished song. But this is just an intro, a break, a build-up, and a drop. So thank you all so much for listening.